Years ago, Max was in the kitchen back at his uncle's farmhouse. He read the recipe for an ice cream cake that he was making for Eddie's birthday, but he was having no luck, unable to even start it. Suddenly, he hears a knock on the door and bolts to answer it. His friend Kira is there with some baking supplies. Back then, Kira would have passed as an average-looking teenage girl. Despite the truth being very much the opposite, she had yet to make that obvious.
You seriously couldn't do this without me?
Yeah, if you weren't here, I'd probably burn down the farm.
You're making ice cream cake?
And?
Okay. I'll help.
Thank you, you're the best.
I mean, the last time I helped you, it went very well. You're learning.
That was a regular cake. This is an ice cream cake.
Well, consider it like ice cream itself, then. Metaphorically speaking.
You mix dairy and ice?
No, actually, it's milk, sugar, cream, and vanilla extract.
Then what are you referring to?
That it's in both of our wheelhouses?
That's corny. And I love it. And now I really want ice cream.
Perhaps we'll make it together sometime. But we should hurry before the ice cream we do have melts.
Good point.
Max sees the warrior woman staring down Emberly. She doesn't look like the girl he remembered making ice cream with. Her hair had gone from brown to now being as white as can be, as if it were ice. The armor she wears is rusted and broken. She seems almost rigid, like what you'd see from a veteran. Seeing the nerdy friend he once knew look ready to kill someone if they crossed her is jarring.
Nieve?
Kira, how did you get here so quick?
Doesn't matter how I did it. I spare your life in battle, let you leave so you're not locked up, give you a second chance, and yet here you are, causing problems.
Do you think I'm going to take that slight and let it be? You called it mercy, but mercy would have been snuffing out the flames when you had the chance.
Clearly.
Kira unsheathes her sword, a rapier with a blue gem on the end of the handle.
I won't be making that mistake again.
Wait, what?
Kira's walk towards Emberly is suddenly turned into a full-on dash, ready to strike, but Emberly reacts by putting her hand back on Max's throat.
Hey guys, does this have to be so tense?
Come any closer and the boy gets a fireball to the throat.
No, that's just mean. How about we get along?
Kira freezes at this, and casts a beam of ice out of her hand that hits the chains binding Max. They instantly turn to ice, and Max takes the opportunity to break the chains. He manages to both get her off of him, and get himself out of the chair.
Thanks for the assist.
This isn't over.
She suddenly disappears into a firewall. But this time, the fire doesn't cease, and she causes it to expand and set the whole building aflame.
It may not be the right time, but it's nice to see you again.
He presses his glasses twice and turns himself into Dairyman.
You're correct. It's not the right time.
Eddie had just gotten to Valpone Labs to retrieve Kelly when Max's alert was sent to them. Along with Spencer, the three rushed immediately to the location the tracker said he was at. As soon as they got there, they saw Neo Impulse standing guard at the entrance to this abandoned dance studio.
There you boys are. Let us in.
How about now?
Fine then.
Not having the patience for this, Kelly presses her watch twice to get her supersuit on. As she walks over to them, she increases her height. She's about 8 feet tall once she's up against Angelo.
Let us in, or we barge through.
She can see the pretty boy try to act tough, but she sees the unmistakable twitch in his hands and fingers.
We're not afraid of you.
Now that's just dumb.
She emphasizes her point by growing more right before him, more and more until she reached about 20 feet. Suddenly, his fight-or-flight reflex kicks in, and he chooses to fight. The twitching of his fingers works up electricity, and in a preemptive strike, he fires lightning from his fingertips. The giant falls to her knees, being blasted back a few yards. She charges at him, using all of her force in one loaded kick. Her aim is accurate, and the momentum slams the boy into a nearby car, knocking him completely unconscious. Kelly pauses for a moment. It was more damage than she meant, but she wasted no time, looking at the other three, masking a bit of guilt with a smirk at them.
You boys want to try too?
No.
I'd like to give it a try.
Kelly turns to see the whole building suddenly igniting into flames, and Emberly stands atop the burning building, looking down on her.
You! Where is he?
Tell me, Kelly, is Dairyman immune to fire? Because I don't think he'll like being tied up inside a burning building. I can make it stop. Just give me the powers.
No. I'll find another way.
Fine then. We'll just sit here and watch the bonfire. Good luck on getting him out, because I'm not letting these flames die.
Not unless I make you.
Emberly is too high to reach, even for a woman of 21 feet in height. But Kelly doesn't care. She rushes at the wall under her opponent and slams her fist through it. She barely feels her hand go through the support beam, causing a considerable section of the building to come crumbling down, including part of the wall where Emberly is perched. Emberly begins to fall, only to suddenly stop and find that she happens to be floating. She sees Cameron holding his hand out to her, concentrating on keeping their new friend from taking the full force of the fall. But now she was at eye level with a furious giant.
Okay, what do we do about the backup dancers?
I have an idea, but they aren't gonna like it.
Spencer rushes towards Cameron, but Everett and Wyatt get in his way to block him. Eddie notices this and quickly retrieves his meat, throwing it to the ground by Everett and Wyatt's feet.
Ha! Nice try moving, guys. My meat can get sticky. Wait, that didn't sound right.
Kelly aims another punch at Emberly, who creates a fire shield to protect herself. But the punch has enough power to shatter the shield and it collides with Emberly, causing her to crash into the building.
Seems like the candle is snuffed out.
I'll make you burn!
You call that a comeback? I'm the one doing the burning here.
What? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not on fire.
Oh boy. I can't explain slang terms during our fight, okay?
Emberly puts her hands together, creating more and more fire in her hands, ready to launch a massive blast in her direction. What she doesn't notice is Cameron being tackled by Spencer. He immediately loses hold of Emberly in the air, and she falls, hitting the ground and completely snuffing out the attack she was charging. Kelly puts her boot on top of Emberly as she goes to get up, and pushes her back down.
Take out the flames.
When Emberly is too stubborn to say anything, Kelly adds more pressure. Meanwhile, Wyatt and Everett manage to get out of Eddie's little trap and see what's unfolding with their boss. Wyatt gets to work. He rushes to Emberly's side and lifts the massive boot off her.
Not happening, short stuff.
However, the little guy is much stronger than she anticipates. In the struggle, the giant finds herself getting off balance, and with a loud stumble and quake, the Colossus crashes into the flaming studio, destroying an entire section of the wall. Kelly manages to roll out of the way before being set on fire. Emberly gets up and brushes herself off. She looks very hurt, but keeps her posture to glare at her.
How about you just give up already?
Kelly lunges and angrily pins Emberly down with her hand.
Take out the flames.
Emberly struggles under her hand, but Kelly can feel the moment Emberly gives up and stops.
Well, that was easier than I expected.
Emerging from the now destroyed section of the wall are Max and Kira.
Whoa, your powers are growing. Literally, I think.
Kelly lets go of Emberly. She rushes back to where Max is, shrinking back to human height. She rushes up to him and wraps him in a hug.
Kira?
Kira's gaze ignores her old friend and is directed toward where Emberly lies defeated. Her blade is quickly to Emberly's neck.
This is a long time coming. It's time for you to pay for your crimes.
Emberly lifts her chin, giving a glare right back to her executioner, but letting it happen.
Finally.
Kira goes to strike, lifting her sword and coming down. Emberly expects it to finish her, but instead, it ends up hitting a shield of meat. She turns her head slightly to see Eddie, standing guard over her, a trained knight, the way she had taught him the day before.
Back off, Eddie. This isn't about you.
She can be reasoned with.
No, she can't. I've tried.
She's young and stubborn, but that doesn't mean she deserves to die.
You don't know what she's done. She's a tyrant.
Was a tyrant.
She looks behind her when she feels Max's hand on her shoulder.
Kira. Please.
Why are you like this? So hopeful.
She sheaths the sword and glares down at Emberly.
Kelly, do you know who this woman is?
No, but I am so invested.
This is when Neo Impulse acts. Everett rushes to their new friend, who is still on the ground, creating a fog cloud to obscure them. The others are caught off guard, and by the time the cloud dissipates, Emberly and Neo Impulse are gone. Even the one they thought was unconscious.
She got away.
As long as we're safe, it's a win.
Now, who are you exactly?
Spencer has an office in the city branch of Valpone Labs. It's more like a guest office for researchers who come by, but he rents the place nonetheless. They need a place to recoup and discuss. As soon as they get there, no one speaks. The five of them are awkwardly quiet, but Spencer gets out a whiteboard and writes down Emberly and each member of Neo Impulse. And then next to each name was a description of their abilities. Emberly, pyromancy. Angelo, electrokinesis. Cameron, telekinesis. Everett, vapor emission. Wyatt, super strength.
Okay, explain.
We need to have a better understanding of who we're up against. I know about Neo Impulse, and we seem to have someone familiar with Emberly. Angelo can use his body to create and conduct electricity. Meanwhile, Everett can produce gases that have varying effects. With Cameron, they enhanced his mental powers trying to manufacture psychic abilities, and it seems that telekinesis occurred.
Well, what about Wyatt and his weird new muscle thingy?
He can enhance the muscularity of a specific part of his body, making it stronger. But the more he does it, the more injured he seems to get. Or at least, as far as they had seen before the trials had ended. I stopped their funding when I realized that it was going very wrong.
And now they are mad at you.
They did enter these tests willingly, but I was unaware of how ill prepared they were. We thought the trial had been a failure because they could barely control their abilities when they left. But it seems that's not the case anymore.
Emberly likely helped with that, helping them unlock more abilities.
That doesn't seem very fiery.
Not all of her magic is fire-based. The fire and ice magic just comes easier to us, and anything more requires extra effort.
Guess that's why Emberly inspired them to help her.
So, can you please explain what the deal is with Emberly? Are the books real? What's going on?
My civilian name is Kira Juniper, but in my homeland I am referred to as Nieve. Yes, the book is indeed based on a real place. The war that the story's version of me fights in is real, but has a fictional ending written entirely by my uncle.
Forgive me, but I haven't read it.
Out on the seas is a collection of islands with two kingdoms, Lunaria, the kingdom of ice, and Heliod, the kingdom of fire. The firstborn princess of either kingdom are born with ice and fire magic respectively, but they had been at war for generations, and at one point Heliod was able to take the Lunarian capital, so the king and queen sent their daughter away to live with her uncle in exile until they could return.
I'm assuming that's you, so then who is Emberly?
The daughter of the Fire King and Queen. Both died before I went back to my homeland. When I got back, she was the one I fought. I tried to reason with her several times, but it never worked.
The history seems tense.
Very.
And what about the fancy new sword?
It's called Permafrost. It's designed to enhance my ice magic.
That sounds so cool. Thank you so much for the help, Nieve.
You can call me Kira.
Thank you for watching this episode of Star-Marked Queen Beach City. If you like what you just heard, please feel free to like and follow on whatever platform you decided to listen to this podcast on. You can listen to this podcast on Spotify at Star-Marked or on YouTube at Maz Presents. You can also find me on Instagram, Blue Skye, and TikTok at Maz Presents. That's M-A-Z Presents. Hope you're marked for the stars. Get it?